I would always get intrigued when there's a new situation, where somebody's doing it different. And I think that's what I was liking about the project when I heard about it, was that it was going to be using a Japanese model of production with management and, right down to the crew. So it meant it was going to be more exotic.
Everybody's been really great, and even though none of us can, easily talk to each other, we've found a way to manage. I've gotten really good at charades.
You never hear complaints. Whatever the shot is, it's never too difficult. It can always be done. They're all very quiet. It's very conscientious work.
The set is much quieter than I find most American sets.
Okay, one rehearsal.
They're very focused and very pleasant.
You have to take your shoes off in the second you come in, and there's nothing like seeing everybody come in and pay their respects to the set in that sense.
I like the way they get low to the ground. The inclination to kind of go down and sit on the ground or kneel on the ground or something like that it's so kind of comforting to be on the set and have so many people kind of hunkered down. It's like a campsite or something, and I feel like it's a great kind of storytelling kind of environment. So there's kind of a quiet expectation of something happening that I really like.
Ready, action!
I think it's different for the Japanese people on this film also, because this film is being done half in a Japanese style and half for all the Americans that are here.
Right on time. So will I see you tonight?
I'll call you when I get home.
In fact, I remember a day we were shooting outside, and it was a scene where Sarah and Jason were walking down the street, and they had a tracking shot set up, so they had a dolly set up on the ground, dolly tracks. They did about 3 takes, and as soon as Shimizu said, okay, we got it, people rushed in and pulled up the track so quickly that Sarah Michelle Gellar and Jason Behr were standing there going, it was gone before they could walk off the set.
It's the most efficient crew I think I've ever worked with. They work with this sort of lightning fast collective focus that will just put your head in a swivel.
The Indian food last night?
What the odd numbers?
In America, there's a film call on set called Lock It Up. They say, lock it up. And when you hear lock it up, the next step is generally, quiet on the set, quiet over there, stop working. And they'll stop working. Roll camera, rolling. Then the slate comes in. Quiet, pause, everybody settle. Action. Here, they say all that stuff. They say, lock it up, action.
Ready, action!
So it really has me jumping. I'm not used to that.
Hello? Cut! Okay. Okay.
It's sort of a complete and total test in faith when you're working on a set with people whose language you don't speak. That's its own challenge, but it's been dealt with so beautifully. I mean, they've been so accommodating, and it's been good fun learning their language and them learning silly American phrases, too.
I just told him what you know. Oh, yeah, I get it.
But just as we're trying to learn their language, I think there's a lot of people who are trying to learn English. So unfortunately, it's so sad because you ask the Japanese to explain a word to you, and they work so hard and they try to teach you all these great things, and all we, the Americans, do is teach bad phrases or things like don't have a cow. just things that are nonsensical and will never be put to any use.
You can't do that, right?
What?
You can't do that.
Sometimes I do this.
One of the key ingredients in making a movie is communication. And instantly, when the director and the producer don't speak English and we don't speak Japanese, it creates a formula for disaster. But ultimately, making a movie is really a universal language. Probably the people who had the single biggest problem would have been the actors, who are used to having long dialogue with the director as to their motivation, what their part is.
He has an excellent translator with him at all times, who I think does a more than adequate job of translating some pretty difficult stuff back and forth.
The whole relationship with the Chiho, the translator, is phenomenal because the way this woman can go back and forth between us, I think also eventually you get in a rhythm with him where you start understanding what he wants.
Japanese is a very, very literal language. And I've also realized that English is probably the least literal language of any of the languages. And so it makes it even that much more difficult. So then you'll ask your question to the translator, and then the translator will then bring it to the director.
The script was really interesting. If you look at the final script, it's in English on the right side of the page and in Japanese on the left side of the page. And I think that really sort of mirrors what the process was. Every step of the way, every outline that I wrote, every draft of the script that I wrote would have to get translated into Japanese and then sent to Shimizu-san, and then he would do their notes in Japanese, and then that would get translated back to English and get distributed to us. So it was truly fascinating.
Obviously, when you're in Japan, you're more sensitive to the culture and to their sets of rules. It was very interesting. I am so used to filming in an area where you block off all the traffic and everybody's an extra and everybody's part of the film crew and everybody stops in between takes. Japan is very different. You just film. So we got there at rush hour and everybody was walking to work or to the train. They hid some cameras all over and I just walked and tried to make my way through the traffic.
I don't think I'll ever get used to this.
We should find ourselves a different train station.
アメリカのシステムを丸々日本に持ち込もうと思っても不可能なんですね。でそれをやっぱりアメリカのサラ・ミシェル・ゲラやジェイソン・ベアたちは当然知らないですから、どうしてそんなにせかされるの、どうしてそんなあの人たち普通の人なのにどうして止められないのとか、そういうことになってきてしまって、で僕が説明していくうちに彼らも理解してくれて、こういうのとお互いにバランス取ってお互いにシステムの違いを譲り合って埋めていかないとねっていうことで。
To be of a different culture and to be in this particular city is really extraordinary. There is no other city in the world, I think, quite like Tokyo. Because it is a city, but it's a different vibe.
It's the best city I've ever worked in, and perhaps the best city I've ever been to. You see a street and you think you're seeing all of it, and then you kind of look down an alley and there's a whole nother universe down there, and there's always so much to explore, and there are always, new parts of town to go into, and it's exciting. It makes it fun to go out. I always want to see more.
Whenever we had a free moment, we were out the door on a train, some pocket of Tokyo, trying to explore whatever we could.
We wandered around and tried to find restaurants where we could tell what was actually on the menu, and we had a couple exploratory trips to the grocery store and tried to decipher what was in the various packages.
We remember that first day when you get here and you try to exchange money the first time and you try to order something the first time and you just walk away because you feel like such an idiot. The whole thing, it's just you walk around and you can't believe what it's like. And the culture itself, the people here are so warm, so lovely.
I did everything that I possibly could. I went and I saw a samurai sword get made. I saw sumo wrestling. I went to kabuki. I went to every shrine that I possibly could. If there's one thing that I could take away from the entire experience of dealing with the people, is that it doesn't matter if you're making a samurai sword, or if you're wrapping a donut, or if you're making a movie. They will do the best of their ability no matter what. And be gracious and be generous and be helpful and very proud of what they do, but very humble. And it was really inspiring.
I can't stress enough what an incredible experience and how lucky we've all been. And I think it would have been really sad to come here and to not be able to have all those experiences.